Okay, we're back. Diego, it's been a while. I know just coordinating a lot of things over the past month, 2 months has just been
It's been
crazy.
crazy.
I don't know if you heard this on the podcast when I was doing football episodes with Coach This is mostly the audience, but Diego kind of knows a little bit. But I've been going through a couple changes. I'm actually moved states, gone for a different job, and I've been adjusting to the schedule because my commute's been like an hour,
God, yeah.
sometimes hour and a half, 2 hours one way. So definitely less time to do football and basketball podcasts each week, but we're gonna try and make this work. We're both excited for the season.
Yeah.
Diego, I haven't got you on the pod or like talked to you in a while. So how have
Yeah.
you been those past 2 months? What's been the highlight?
The highlight, I went traveling like my second half of August, first half of September. I traveled a bunch. Went to a lake house with my girlfriend's like dad and her side of the family. And then I went to Mexico with her mom's side of the family, or like her mom like owns some places out there, so I went out there with her to Cancun basically. That was pretty nuts. And then the next weekend I went to Japan with my parents for 2 weeks. And then the weekend after that I went. I don't like it's more like a Michigan. People in southeastern Michigan know like Frankenmuth. We went to the Oktoberfest there with some friends, and I've just been busy, man. My birthday's coming up next a week from Friday, or Saturday. I'm gonna have a party.
Man doesn't even remember his
Yeah,
own birthday, man.
I know. It's going. So just got school going, trying to keep up with NBA. Yeah, it's just been back to back to back.
Fine,
So it's
fine.
yeah, but it's good to be back. It's good to have basketball. Kind of forgot how it felt to watch basketball. I mean, right now the Raptors are up one on the Celtics. Derek White is playing the fourth quarter of a preseason game, so Missoula's going crazy. He's
I'm really glad you
mid-season
brought that up
form.
because there's a topic I want to really talk about. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. Oh,
First
I,
episode coming back for this season.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like we're just gonna kind of keep it light, but also we want to preview a couple things. So not much going on, but glad to see you've been traveling the world. You've been enjoying
Yeah.
yourself. A lot of liveliness in your life, so that's been great to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be good to continue talking and stuff like that. Basketball is always a fun topic to talk about.
Yeah,
Going to my
man.
regular pickup games in my hometown now, and
Yeah.
gee, I started weightlifting last weekend. I blew out kind of like my hamstring and hip. When I
Jesus.
say blew out, I strained it, but it felt like I couldn't
God,
walk at all. Like
that's tough.
so, I just did not play basketball for like a week, and then
Mm-hmm.
today was I played at like 5 in the morning because we had really good runs um,
Nice, nice.
at the
Yeah.
activity center, and this is the day after I did like a weight based like a 40-minute workout I was just following. And my arms were heavy and I was shooting the ball and I'm like, this usually I'm really under control of my threes, but I'm like, I'm putting way too much power on this. Even some of my passes, I
Nice.
was like, I felt like I didn't have enough touch on it, but they were just they were getting to their targets and I was like, geez. Like I actually have a cannon of an arm if I just start weightlifting again. And I've been off of it because I'm like, I don't want every time I do it, I just strain my shoulder or my hip because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
having the right technique. So I've just been
Yeah.
doing bands, but now I get myself in the rhythm with weightlifting. I could be a lot stronger in the post. So like
Yeah.
that's always gonna help like on defense. So yeah, still keeping that up, but getting adjusted to commutes and a lot has happened. Moved a lot and planning to move sometime in the next 2 or 3 months. We'll see. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, glad to hear everything's going well, man.
Yeah. It's going. Well, actually, one thing I started doing earlier this month is I had a like left hip tightness for the longest time, and I finally figured out how to get some PT. And it turns out my left hip was tight because of my left ankle being tight, and my whole body
Yeah.
like compensating. So my left leg was actually like functionally shorter than my right leg. So I'm actually getting that fixed now, and that's pretty nice. So yeah, it's good to not not
No,
have
it's
that.
a good point, dude. I
Yeah.
just did I did the lat machine and then the hip abductor machines, and what I think
Mhm.
what happened is I put too much weight on both, and I kind of
Yeah.
overextended myself when I was like, oh, I'm more flexible where I can continue widening my legs before I start.
Yeah.
Okay, probably not the best phrasing there, but put a lot of weight in those areas. First, my back was like killing me, like my low back, like middle of the
Yeah.
back, and then it went down to my hips and like
That's tough.
uh, and my quad at the same sorry, not quad, hamstring at the same time.
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's terrible to walk right now. So I think as long as you're smart and you focus on toning first before you go into full weights. I thought I could just pick right up where I left off with my weights that I did
Yeah.
in college. And I'm
Did
like,
not.
nope, I gotta build up to it. So learning lessons for sure. Well, I'm glad you brought up the Celtics. I'm gonna jump right into it.
Yep.
This is pretty funny. I was just catching up on
Yeah.
basketball news and whatnot, but the Celtics coaches actually had a pickup basketball matchup with the reporters itself. They
Yeah.
actually recorded the score on the Athletic. They played for like 12 minutes, and
Gosh.
it's 57-4. The coaches
Yeah.
were like full court pressing the media, and I thought this is just great for like,
Mhm.
especially being in Chicago. You know how the football team is doing right now. Like
Yeah.
everybody is like asking stupid and dumb questions at the coach, every quarterback. Latest
Uh,
in the news was Aikman for like his comments and stuff like that. And
mhm.
I always get annoyed that the media doesn't ask things that fans would actually be curious about, and we'll have to listen to it on other podcasts. Like Young Man 3 is a great one, to really get insight about the game.
Yeah.
And I think something like this is really good personally, but I want to get your thoughts before I go too much further into it.
Yeah.
What did you think just hearing that snippet? I don't know how much you've heard or if you know about this already. Go
No,
ahead.
I've been new about it. Anyone that's new to the podcast, I'm like a NBA. I'm people say I'm like chronically online. I know things when they happen. Usually, I'm actually trying to work on it, so I don't know as much. Or I'm not on my phone as much. But yeah, I saw it and it was hilarious. And like, how do you get smacked around that badly? But also, like Joe Mazzulla is just insane. We know Joe Mazzulla is kind of wild like that, and he's just gonna do that. And he's gonna be a guy that's like, we're gonna clap them by 54 points. Like that's hilarious. And the fact they're pressing these, and I don't want to like denigrate the media and say, oh, they're Celtics media is like fat and obese and they don't work out. I mean, who can really play 12 minutes of basketball against people that really know it and play well? There's not a lot of people that can do that, even if you write about basketball. So
Right.
yeah, it's tough. I don't blame them for losing by 54. I don't know if my team could have done the same. I mean, we wouldn't have lost by 54, but I think we still would have lost. Yeah.
And a lot of these assistant coaches have been former players and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing we got to be careful about, just like in the space and like talking about basketball and stuff, because Corson and I do it all the time in football. It's like, why didn't quarterback see this, or like why didn't the
Yeah.
receiver do this, or like when we're critiquing on film, it's like play the right way. We're always harping about that with basketball. I can't tell you how many reels I sent Diego on like how the Spurs play
Yeah.
versus how the league is now and how it kind of disgusts me, like just style of play.
Yeah.
I wish there was a lot more movement and ball. And some teams still do it,
Mm-hmm.
but the way the Spurs did it is like you didn't have to be like absurdly talented where you could just be a Shea Gilgeous Alexander just go off. But
Yeah.
the point being is sometimes we can forget the lens on what we talk about and act like we know how to fix the solution when like if wherever we see a team problem or like I don't like that they did it this way,
Yeah.
we kind of sometimes put ourselves in that lens of like, oh, we could do a better job if we're in that position. But actually, if we were in that position, there's a lot of other different perspectives you're battling on a day-to-day basis and the grind of a season and how quickly the next game comes up and then in the playoff series. And I'm like, I can tell you right now, I might have a couple like crazy, like good plays I would want a
Yeah.
team to run just because I'm wacky like that. But I would not be good at like adjustments on the fly or like managing minutes, managing injuries
No.
and whatnot. So it's not my lane. I try my best when I give my perspectives to say like, hey, this is what I would do, and I might not have all the information here, but this is just based on like playing every day and seeing like how I think basketball should be played, and it's just opinion. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean much. It's just we're giving our takes here, but it's not like screw the Celtics because they didn't do what I said about on a podcast that barely gets enough views. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes we gotta, especially with the media and like especially for us, like we gotta be just cognizant of that and just understand this is an entertainment, and obviously we want the Bulls and the Mavericks to make it to the finals every year. But at the same time, we love talking about basketball, which is why we're doing this every time. And understanding when to draw the line when interacting with human beings. I think that's all important when thinking about something just as low key and funny as this.
Yeah.
I think that's the main message to get from here. So
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And yeah, for me, I like you said, we're just talking here. The biggest like compliment to my game I've got is this older guy playing at LA Fitness. He's like, "How old are you?" I was like, "I'm 24." He's like, "You play so much older. Like you reading the game." And I was like, I am LeBron. Like that was my thought. Um, so yeah, like we're just guys. So but we know a little bit. So it's just fun to kind of talk about it. So I'm glad to be back here. It's been like we said, it's been a minute.
yeah, no, I and I would get how players could feel frustrated being critiqued all the time about like the
Yeah.
All Star game and like, um, although we always have our arguments about LeBron versus Jordan, like
Yeah, we
who,
do.
like at the end of the day, who cares, right? Like
Hmm.
it's they're both great players. They both have promoted the game and brought the game to where it is. But
Yeah.
sometimes we need to take a step back and be like, okay, how these are human beings and how are we impacting them by saying stuff that when they're like tie their shoes and whatnot, they're not even gonna think about it. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling when I'm saying this. But the
No.
point being is that sometimes when doing our job, we need to look at ways we could do our job better instead of trying to harm storylines where coaches, GMs, players could get fired just because of how they were covered, not
Yeah.
necessarily what was actually going on in the situation, right? See this all the time in football and basketball alike, where
Yeah.
like kind of like the common perception is what an owner will buy into to drive the decision to fire people, but it's not necessarily the right choice based on merit or based on circumstance. So media has a role to play with that. Owners getting influenced has a way of doing that, but also it's on the coaches and the players to produce sometimes. It's sometimes a multi-layered onion. So as media and people covering the team, how do we focus our energy on not just because we don't like a person in that role? How do we just focus on our job and like make doing a having a greater impact at our job so we can promote the game and more people can get eyes on it and enjoy it?
Yep. Yeah, and just even if there's criticism, like being respectful about it, not being like, "Oh, Joe Mazzulla." I said he's insane, but I'm saying it like in a cordial way, like that guy's a basketball sicko. But I'm not saying like he's insane. He doesn't deserve a job in the league. Like that's not cool. So it's just uh, what's it? Expressing your opinion respectfully. That's
Exactly.
that's the
Yep.
bottom. That's the bottom.
Alrighty. I didn't mean for that to be super, super deep and super serious, but
Yeah.
I thought this was funny for the fact that it was a 50-point difference.
Yeah.
That's a show like know your place, media, but I think it's all fun and games. I don't think the intent was to try and embarrass them.
No.
All right. I got a couple burning questions. I think you might, as we go talking about this. I have three teams I'm curious about. Um, and I don't really know the answers to them. So I'm curious to see like what you will be looking at. We'll start with the Rockets because there's been a lot of hype about this team ever since they got KD, ever since they had the season they had the past year. They're on the come up, and a lot was to be excited about. We kind of did a little segment on Van Vliet at some point last year. I don't remember when,
Mm,
but unfortunately, he tore his ACL in
yeah.
practice, and for that to happen where Houston's at, like, it's just absolutely devastating because of the leadership impact and his impact on the guys around him consistent.
Mhm.
But being a veteran point guard who has won a championship, who has played under the bright lights, he knows what it takes to reach that championship status. And where I can see it being problematic for the Rockets is they don't have a lot of good backup options for that scenario, right?
Yeah.
Big question here is what do they do at point guard with the amount of talent they have outside of that, but to maximize it? It kind of seems like a Phoenix Suns question in
Yeah.
recent years, but how would you handle it looking at the Rockets situation?
Yeah. And it's a good comparison to use the Phoenix Suns because after that first year I think it was the first year with the big three, KD, D Book, and Bradley Beal. Jeez, you can tell I'm still rusty. So even in their first season, they didn't have a point guard, and everyone's like, "It's fine, you got these scores," but that didn't work. But the issue was they also didn't have any. They didn't have that great of defenders, so you're kind of losing in two really important facets of the game. And thankfully for the Rockets, you do have one of the best defenses in the league. I think it was number 2 behind the Thunder last year, and I think the biggest thing is, yeah, although you get KD this year to win this year and right now, and the ACL for VanVleet isn't ideal. This is this is a growth opportunity for Amen Thompson, really. Even Reed Shepard, if the Rockets have confidence in his defense. I think that's the biggest thing is he's gonna have the ball in his hands. If he's the one, him at the one, I don't know. I don't even know who would be a two guard. I mean, I've heard like KD at the two, him, KD, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, and if you really want to go double big, you put Steven Adams in there or Clint Capella. That's a crazy 5-man lineup that, because of the athleticism of Amen, this is not an issue. I mean, you could put Tari Eason in instead of Jabari and go a bit smaller. So I think it'll be a big growth opportunity. And I think a big thing is it won't just be Amen always with the ball. We know Alperen Sengun is kind of like a Jokic Jr.
Right.
So now no Jalen Green to kind of, I don't want to say hog the ball, but I'm not going to say it. But so yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. And I think the Rockets won the KD trade both ways because Jalen Green's a great player to get points and he was their leading scorer, but he wasn't creating as well as he could have for them. So I think that's a big reason how they kind of doubly win in that case. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily try and make a play for Mike Conley or some
Yeah.
guy like that, or like the
Mhm.
Celtics, like young guy, Bulls, probably another option. You got a couple point guard options there that you could target.
Yeah,
But
but
I do think it's a massive growth opportunity for Amon Thompson and Reed Shepard
mhm. Yeah,
because they're both like Reed Shepard especially because he didn't get much playing time last season with the way how deep the team was. But now you move
mhm.
on from Jalen Green, a couple more pieces. This is a massive moment for him. So I would probably look at Reed Shepard first
Yeah.
because not Amon Ra, Amon Thompson. Um, that is going to be quite an adjustment for him. So for me
Yeah.
personally, I'd rather have him just do all the little things like crashing the glass, like attacking the rim, like doing all those things on the outs because you got shooters, you got a ton of bigs. You just mentioned like almost all the bigs on the
Yeah.
Rockets lineup. Like you didn't mention Jabari Smith being the third backup center, Dorian Finney-Smith. Like if he's kind of considered a big with kind of their
Mhm.
um, and then Clint Capella. Like they're set at the big spot, like which is not what we could have said about the Suns in their early years.
Yeah.
And like you still got Tari Eason and you got Josh Okogie. So you can make things work to spell Amon Thompson, KD. And if you really want, maybe you do go with Tari Eason, Amon Thompson, and KD lineup. But
Yeah.
if you have like a guy like Reed Shepard step up and
Mhm.
have Aaron Holiday back him up, I think it'll be a lot easier of a situation than asking Amon Thompson to kind of do the heavy lifting on top of what he showed he can be great at last year.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think the only reason they wouldn't and the reason they didn't play him last year is because Ime Udoka wants clamps. He wants everyone to be able to defend. And I'm not saying Reed Shepard's a terrible defender, but just the fact that he's 6 feet tall, 6'3", he can't defend the same way as. And Van Vliet might be around the same height, but he's buff. He's been in the league. He knows the tricks of the trade.
He's an experienced defender. Like
Yeah.
like especially with basketball, we got, and we're not questioning Reed Shepard's toughness, but it's really just a question of like Fred VanVleet is as tough as they come. Like he's played alongside Kyle Lowry, so at that stature, it's just really really important to have a lot of toughness and intelligence because you're at a disadvantage being at that natural position. So Reed Shepard has a lot of talent. The other risk with him is, does that take away from his catch and shoot ability from the 3 spot because he's ball handling so much. So it's going to be even more important, like once you convert from full court to half court, how seamless is that transition to get the ball to Şengün, KD, and get into your strengths as like shooting spots and whatnot. So it'll be very interesting to see how Houston tries to address the situation. Sucks, but this is kind of the fallout.
Yeah, injuries suck, and unfortunately, the way the game is played now, just with so much movement, I think it's impossible to avoid. So it's difficult. It's difficult to manage.
All right. Another difficult situation to look at is Miami Heat. They've kind of been like the Bulls. Just every year you can book it that they're gonna start at the playing tournament, and that's it. No matter how it happens, and we saw the Jimmy situation play out the way it did, and them kind of being in a tough spot. So main stars, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and then you got Kel'el Ware, who had a lot of playing time and growth moments last season.
Yeah.
One guy I want to look at is Nikola Jovic. How do you feel? Like, how important do you think he is to his team right now? Where do you think he's at? What are kind of the things you want to see from him when you're considering the Miami Heat going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with him is he got extended. I think he's one of the first of his class to get extended. Because I think, what is it? I don't know if it's the same. I think they were able to start the extension or the deadline is close, but he's one of the few in his draft class that have been extended. And it's a reasonable number. It's not a number where you're like, oh my God, the Heat think he's going to be some guy. They think he's going to be a player on their team for a while and a reasonable role player. But I think the biggest thing is he's just been injured. I feel like I haven't gotten to see a lot of him. And with his height and the way he played for Serbia in Eurobasket, I know he didn't play amazingly, but he played well in the minutes he had. So I think he's going to be interesting, and I think the youth, right? Him, Jaime Jaquez had a terrible year last year. What does he do? Kel'el Ware, he's looking amazing. He's literally looking like a unicorn because he can hit threes and he's super long and whatnot. Them three, Davion Mitchell. I think at the worst, those guys, whatever happens to Hero, to Powell, to Adebayo, and Wiggins, you have these guys kind of growing and doing something there. Where I think whatever happens with the old guys, if you do well, you do well, but it hasn't worked. But they also don't have Jimmy Butler this year, so I think it's a weight off everyone's shoulders. That for sure.
I mean, yeah, from a culture perspective, 100%. Yeah. Talent level will be very difficult. They start to move on from some of those guys. I think you might have to do a painful rebuild and commit to it. But like I look at his numbers from 3 last season. He, like, specifically from the corner, he hit almost 50%. He was at 48.8, and overall he shot 40.3. So you have a lot of versatility with him, and then where Bam likes to dominate, like in the high elbow area and down in the post, and being a great defender. And you have Kel'el Ware. Like, I think the driving ability, passing that he's shown, and plus, like, you talked about his Eurobasket run. Yeah. Like, it's just, can he become consistent in the other elements of his game to kind of support this team? Because if you have him as a really, really strong third guy, like an Alfred, in addition to Tyler Hero and Bam, now you're talking about something. Yeah. Now you're like, especially with the Kel'el Wares and like then that's when the flashes of like Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, like Simone Fontecchio, like coming off
Yeah,
the bench, like that's when they really get a lot more shine because you have established another focal point on the Miami Heat. So that's what I really would be looking at, whether it's Jovic or Ware. Can one of them step up with more consistency where suddenly like there's not this heavy weight on Adebayo and Hua to kind of carry the mantle of the team that Jimmy had, you know? So I think it has to be more of a spread out attack, but within that spread out attack, you got to have like three strong points to lead it with this team. But I don't
yeah,
know. It's kind of a murky situation for me.
yeah. No, and I guess real quick, I looked it up here on the side. Jovic is in the same draft as like Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, there's another guy, Jabari Smith Jr., the 2022 draft, and he got this extension a few like 19 days before that deadline, and if he wouldn't have signed it, he would have gone to the situation like everyone this year, Kuminga, Thomas, Cam Thomas. I don't even want to remember the guy the Mavs traded to the Sixers. But so basically, he just avoided restricted free agency with that one, and only at $15 million a year. I think for what he could be is great, and I think it's good value. I think it was a 4-year deal, so it's a pretty good move, and it shows a degree of confidence from the Heat in Jovic. So yeah, and I agree. If he pops off and takes that step forward, it's going to look like a really good deal for the Heat and for Jovic.
Great. I think you're gonna love this. We
Oh
were
my
all
gosh.
fans of the Pistons last year.
Oh yes.
They they took they took the league by storm. They surprised a lot of people.
Yeah.
They could have they could have handled the Knicks, honestly.
They could
Um,
have.
now with all the injuries that have happened in the East, there's again situation is murky. A lot of people
Yeah.
think it's New York's conference to lose, but I do want to pay attention to them. I do want to pay attention to Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
with the Pistons specifically. How do you think they'll handle the expectations placed on them now?
It's gonna be quite the question, because it's easy to write. You have those expectations on the floor. You do anything over, and everyone's like, "Wow, good job." But yeah, you're not gonna triple your win total again. That's not possible. But I think the biggest thing they focused on was ensuring they lost Malik Beasley. I'm not sure what the situation was because I don't. There's a whole deal with him like being investigated for I think like a gambling
Gambling.
charge. Yeah. So he didn't even. I don't even think he got signed because that was right during free agency. That that basically cooked him. But the Pistons still get Duncan Robinson in this. They also sign. Oh my gosh, I just had his name.
Tobias
Karis
Harris.
LeVert. Oh, they still have
Oh no,
Tobias Harris.
that was dumb. I knew he was on the Sixers for so long, but they've had him already.
No, you're good.
Yes, you're right. It was Karis LeVert.
But they get some of
Great
these
part.
other guys. No worries. They get some of these other guys who can shoot. Ron Holland, I think I saw his shots looking better as well. The big thing is the reason it worked last year was because Cade had space. You had Tim Hardaway Jr., you had Tobias Harris, and you had Malik Beasley who could give him space on the floor. And that's exactly what they kept doing. They're like, that works. Let's keep it going. And I think, obviously, I don't think they're going to triple their win total, like I said, but they're going to still be competitive. And from what I've seen online, like people are saying Cade is proving in the preseason that what he did before isn't a fluke. What he did last year isn't a fluke. That All-Star season, he's going to build on that. And man, I mean, watching a 40-point game of his live, yeah, I think if he has any space to get better, this is going to be interesting. So yeah, the Pistons could be a team to think they could go up a little. But it also depends on where does Jaden Ivey fit in this? He was out. Does Asar Thompson improve as well? I think being optimistic, yeah, I think they could break into the top 4 with some injury luck, but yeah,
I
it's
was
gonna
just
be a
about
good
to say,
year.
like, other expectations top three with the state of the conference
Oh
right now. But you almost forgot to mention
yeah,
it. But like Jaden Ivey, before he fractured his fibula, he
yeah,
was having a heck of a year, man. Like he
yeah.
was he was playing really, really well. So like, how does he look this season?
But not
Asar
only
Thompson, Jalen Duran. Like Jalen
mhm,
Duran had a phenomenal start to the season. Sar Thompson like started to come on like throughout last season.
Yeah.
Do they keep improving, or are they going to hit the sophomore slump? I think there's a lot of questions to be answered here. And JB Bickerstaff, like
Yeah.
you got this team rebuilt, you got this team playing the way they need to. Now, how do you build off of that? You saw how that turned out with Cleveland, where eventually the voice wasn't working anymore. So I think there's a lot of questions Detroit has to answer that people are not talking about because it kind of felt like last year they were playing with house money, and
Yeah.
now it's kind of like, okay, how do we build a sustainable program? So I believe in Cade. It's just a question about the supporting cast around him because, as you saw in these finals last year,
Yeah.
that matters more than anything. And Detroit has a lot of promise, but it's not clear cut yet. We need the information that we're going to get from this first 20 games.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing, Jaden is literally the wild card here. He played great last year, but it almost aligned where him going out was right when Asar Thompson kind of came off his minutes restriction and started playing more because he had blood clots the year before. And so, say you have Kate Cunningham, obviously, Duncan Robinson, you need that shooting, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, and then you want to add Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup, not Tobias Harris. If you do put Ivey in, he's not a shooter. You have three not ideal shooters on the court and only two good ones, and Kate Cunningham needs the ball in his hands. So that's the question I'm going to be looking at. How's Jaden Ivey going to fit in this? And they didn't extend him or Duren, I believe. Is he 22? I don't know, but that's a question. What are they going to do with those two guys? Duren, I think, is more known because he's played better, and he's big. And I'm telling you, you don't see it talked about a lot, but he's got some passing chops. He can handle the ball, and I'm excited to see what he can do. But I don't know. We don't know. Jaden Ivey is a big question mark here, and we'll see how he answers at this new season.
Yeah, if he comes back like 80% of himself, like at the start of the season, that you're sitting in a great spot if you're in Detroit. But again, a lot of these questions, like you need to see the constant progression. Speaking of options, Keegan Murray, we just got the news.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Russell Westbrook at some point. I think we want to focus this discussion on the 5-year, $140 million contract he got because averaging over the course of the first 3 seasons, he had 13.3 points, 5.6 rebounds. I think he was shooting 38% career-wise from deep. So really good, but had a little bit of a dip meaning 4%. He was shooting about 34%. But again, this is a guy who can guard multiple positions, class act professional, gives the team like both ends effort. Like this, well, what do you make of kind of this deal and like where the Kings are headed? Obviously, you have a lot of change with acquiring Sabonis, then like moving on from De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, and like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are on the team now. It's like, well, what do you make of this deal and what it means for the Kings?
Yeah. What do I make of the deal itself for Keegan Murray? I think it's great. I think he deserves it. I even think I don't think it's an underpay, but I think Keegan Murray I saw Keegan Murray in college at Iowa. Keegan Murray was the guy on that team. I think with Luka Garza as well. He is the 1 or 2 guy. And in that first season, the Kings play so well. He has best shooting season from 3. It's all down so how much he has the ball. I mean, they brought in LaVine, they brought in DeRozan, they brought in all these other guys who take the ball away from him. And I feel like Keegan Murray has other things I feel sorry for him because I feel like on any other team, he could be kind of an option there to kind of break through and have the ball. But I always feel like the Kings are like, no, let's bring more talent in to kind of go over him. I think he's just a great player. I think if the Kings wouldn't have signed him, like other teams would be itching to have him as well. So I think that's why they did it. Overall, the Kings are just I don't understand them. They make no sense. And it makes me sad that the Beam team just what is the I'm literally watching them play the Clippers right now. Only Domantas Sabonis is the one guy left from the Beam team on this squad right now. Everyone else has been acquired in the past 2 years, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that's why I don't know if you listen to a lot of podcasts, you'll hear like people won't talk about the Sacramento Kings as the Kings; they'll call them the Kangs, as kind of like not derogatory in like a super offensive way, but it's just like, when have they ever done anything right consistently? And unfortunately, that's kind of where they are, and it's hard. It feels so mean to say that when you have literal all-stars on the team, but you have all the talent in the world and you can't win games. I mean, that happened to the Suns. And especially in this cap environment, it's just tough. So good for Keegan, he got paid. I hope no one else has as long as of a contract as him, so he kind of survives whatever happens. And maybe someone in Sacramento kind of opens their eyes and does something different. But yeah, in my opinion, it's just hasn't been great, and I think he deserves a little better. But hey, he's getting that money, so that's good.
I mean, yeah, compared to Franz Wagner and Jalen Johnson,
Yeah,
a little bit on the rough spectrum, but like Jalen Johnson would be the comparison I would make for that. 5 years, 150 million. Yeah, kind of sucks for him, but I think the thing to pay attention to is, again, you're 100% right about Keegan Murray as far as like a talent. Like, they had to make this move with the shooting in the league and like how highly valued his skills are. Like, he would have definitely got that money or like significantly more. I agree with you on some of the moves the Kings are making. It doesn't make sense. I feel like you want to tap into that, and part of it's tied to the coaches. So one guy I'd be looking at is Doug Christie. He is a guy where I think we're going to learn a lot about him in the first 20, 30 games. And it's like, how does he get the most out of his players? Because I know when Keegan Murray first started, he wasn't really – his role had a lot of changes. And you went from like versatile defenders where he was kind of forced to be this two-way player, which he can do it now. It took a lot of development too. But he's more – his strengths lie in his shooting, and they weren't necessarily accentuated in those philosophies. So it's how do you get the most like out of him with this new coaching staff when you have like ball dominant scorers and playmakers with Sabonis, Levine, DeRozan.
Yeah,
That's going to be key, because we talk about guys like Keon Ellis, talk about like other role players that can be really, really good, but they've been up and down. Like Keegan Murray has not been that. He's been pretty consistent, even though it's kind of contradictory to what I said about his dip in shooting. Like, I still believe in the talent, still believe in the player. I love this move for him. He deserves it. But the last thing you want to see for a player like this is to be trapped into kind of like a constantly evolving situation that will not help his career at all.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the biggest thing with this Kings team is who has the ball. Like Sabonis, DeRozan, Levine. Dennis Schroeder even likes to have the ball. So it's that there's always one thought I have is just there's only one ball. You can have the greatest 5 players of all time, but if they all need the ball and you split the time evenly between all of them and just go ISO 1-on-1, that's not the same as if, like we said, this beautiful game Spurs where everyone pass, catch, fake pass into another pass, you know? It's it's interesting. And I think just kind of carving out those roles and understanding that a little better. But yeah, it'll be entertaining. I was looking, brought up the cap sheet. And I don't know, the Spot Track is a good place to look at this. And I just put the Kings in the 29-30 season. Yes, this is like in 4 years. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. But look, the guys here, I mean, Nick Clifford, they just drafted. I don't know why it says Markelle Fultz, Jake Crowder. Like, the only player I can reasonably see on this team in 4 years is Nick Clifford from this cap hold thing on Spot Track.
Well, that's Malik Monk, man.
God, and Malik, bro, and they have Malik Monk. Like, this is so confusing. I completely forgot about him. But yeah, he's going to get old by that point. But
what about Dario Saric? Did you forget about him?
Dario Saric should not be. He's starting. At this point. I know, but he started in this preseason game. Oh, my God. Dario Saric he's just not what he was. I don't even know what his peak was, but he's definitely not that anymore. It's tough. But basically,
Dude,
Keegan Murray
yeah.
will be on this team once whatever is going on now ends or keeps going. Hopefully ends and they kind of turn it around. Yeah, just gotta
I mean, if they
draft.
move on from him, they're going to promote Doug McDermott, who's 34, still on the Kings.
Yeah,
Uh, Unbelievable. Well, I'm just looking at the roster now. I'm like, geez.
yeah,
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 I don't know if Svachak was updated to take the cap hit because it looks a little bit different. I'm not sure when the extension is going to hit, but
yeah.
yeah, especially when you're putting like almost 90 million in like 2 players. That's not no. Well, let's bump it up
God,
to 120 million between 3 players. Like
like,
that's that's not great.
oh my
That's not great
God, that's just
because
so insane.
they don't have the problem is they don't have the depth, and I I just don't know what they're going to do next. We'll see. I don't know. It's just
Like,
confusing to me.
yeah,
It's like
it's
they're kind of like the Bengals of the NBA, like where it's just like, okay, you got all this talent, you paid them a lot of money, good, but I feel like you're doing more harm than good because you're not taking the medicine for the other ailments you have. Like you're just like, oh, I'll have the sore ankle, I'll deal with the strains, but
yeah,
I really want to make sure my biceps look good, and and I have a toned like torso. Like that's kind of what the
yeah.
Kings are like. It's and again, this is just our perspective, but it doesn't look great from the future of like King and Murray's career.
Not the near future.
Definitely happy he got the extension, but the reason
It's
we're
gonna
going on about this for 10 minutes is like, okay, he gets this extension. What is the Kings' philosophy here by making this move?
exactly.
It's a little unclear. They're like, okay, we want to build around Keegan Murray, but it's like, okay, then why do you have DeRozan and Levine on the roster making as much as they are? We want to keep Sabonis cool. I'm fine with that, but like,
Yeah,
where's the depth? Like, once DeRozan and Levine are like, okay, we need to get out of the situation. I don't think they're ready for that yet.
no. So Kings are the Kings, and like we said, we're not gonna talk about Westbrook. My face is all you're gonna get on my statement right now. I honestly didn't think he was gonna come back in the league. Not that I dislike Westbrook, but there's a lot more to be said about it that we're not gonna say. So yes, the Kings are the Kings.
All right, yeah, and you're a king, man. That's the best I got.
All good.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Follow us on our Instagram channel. YouTube channel for full length videos. Instagram.
Yeah.
Some point we'll get updated. Gotta figure out new routine, new situation.
Yeah.
I can't remember when I last updated that. Well, but we will at some point. And Diego, any last words for the viewers? Anything they should know about?
Get ready for another season. We're back. It feels wild how much time has passed, but we're back.
And you finally got hope. You got
Yeah.
hope with the flag man point guard. I think there's a lot to be excited about. Bulls, the youth movement. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see who stays, who grows. Like I am a lot more optimistic right now based on how Josh Giddey ended the season. But
Yeah.
these are the Bulls, so I can't get my hopes too high. But until then, you guys take care. We'll see you next week with a lot more season preview, a lot more
Yeah.
fun content to come.
All right.
Take it
See
easy,
you
guys.
guys later.